All right, welcome back to another week of One Man's Trash. I'm going to start out this week with kind of, I don't know what I'm going to call them, helpful hints, a selling tip that I learned. I'm going to focus on selling on Amazon, particular thing today, and then just kind of, this can be relatively short, and then go into a weekly update and just a couple relevant topics related to specific products that are going out in the mail tomorrow and just from recent sales. So specific to selling on Amazon, I wanted to talk about the A to Z guarantee. So right around the holidays, I talked about shipping delays and bracing for a lot of customer service complaints of delayed shipping, delayed deliveries rather, not delayed shipping of you getting it out the door. And anyone who sells on eBay, it's a very slippery slope. As soon as the platform steps in for a case, the buyer is almost always favored, even if it claims to be objective. That's just the nature of the old adage of the customer is always right. So if anyone's gone through an item not as described case, you probably got some trauma related to that on eBay. But the A to Z guarantee on Amazon, I didn't really have much experience with it. I've been selling on Amazon for maybe 4 years now. Separate from all this resale stuff, I make jewelry and have sold on their handmade platform for a while. So the A to Z guarantee claim is a buyer and seller protection. Don't quote me on any of this. Go look it up on their site directly. This is just my anecdotal experience, but with that protection, it protects both the buyer and the seller. So for the buyer, it's protecting the the timely delivery and the condition, and then for the seller, obviously, that's part of the promise that they're selling the customer, so it's your obligation. So if you are buying your shipping through Amazon, which historically I did not always do, but recently shifted back to buying the labels individually through Amazon. That's part of the requirement to be protected by this. So if you have shipped within your promised delivery amount of time, and you have used their purchase label, and the condition obviously is the other factor, that you are true and honest with that piece. If there is a shipping delay, it is possible that they step in and favor. I don't want to say favor in your side, but provide a protection for you as the seller, but also for the buyer. So I had several of these cases close recently. Knock on wood, it stays this way, but each one was a buyer who bought a book. They got caught up and delayed, several weeks delayed. Normally, my process on eBay is I take the hit and refund it, just for the problem of not having to deal with the potential negative outcome of not refunding. So on Amazon, this is the first I had tried. Obviously, I want to make sure there's resolution for the customer. So they open this case, and pretty quickly Amazon steps in, reviews it. Amazon, because I met my conditions and the buyer was also owed something, Amazon paid out of their pocket the refund for the buyer. The buyer luckily finally got the book, but some of these are for school and whatnot, so they needed the money or the book right away. And then it's not reflecting on my selling negatively on my seller account. So very different experience than selling on eBay. So if you're an Amazon seller, take a look at that. Let me know if you have any experience with that personally. Hopefully that's a little fascinating tidbit that I recently learned, and we're still dealing with delays, so it should be pretty relevant. So into this week's updates, I did not buy a locker this week. So today's Tuesday. Normally today is the day I buy lockers. I distracted myself to not get caught up and got some other work done today. I did buy one last week on Tuesday. So that one so far is turning out to be probably about a wash. I have not broken even on that one yet. I bought it because it was I can insert the quick video clip here. And then I bought it because I saw this chest freezer in there. It's new in box. I took a look at the photos ahead of time, decided it was an interesting one, fairly small. I ended up having to rent a cargo van for it because I measured. This is the beauty of buying online. You pay a premium, but I was able to identify the product number from the picture. I pulled up the specifications, the measurements for that box, and was able to identify it would not fit in my car prior to bidding. So that factored in for me. I did not bid as much on it because I knew I would need to pay for a truck. So picked that up. There's a bunch of off-brand purses in there and some shoes. That's probably where I'll kind of make up the difference. We'll see if I can get 150 or so for the freezer unopened. Should be pretty good. $300 new. So there's that. I got more than enough work to do with that, but a couple items going out in the mail today. I want to kind of show us some positive stories and hopefully some inspiring ways to find your niche of getting in. So this actually just sold while I was in a meeting earlier, so about an hour ago. This is a book I picked up at the thrift store. I have 2 more of them, I think, maybe 1 more. A week or 2 ago, I mentioned I went just for the fun, paid $1, $2 for it. It's in great condition. Title is History of Government Intermediate Ages, so it's a set of 3 volumes. I think I had 2 of the 3, selling them individually. This just sold for $90 on Amazon. Never in my life would I think I'd be selling a book for $90, but bought it for $1, $2, $90 sale. Obviously I have shipping fees, all of that on top of that, but that is astronomical. I will not beat that kind of return probably ever again, but it's a great example of what is out there and kind of trying to find that niche. Another item that went out today, this is kind of, I don't want to call it scraps, but leftovers from that 3 lockers I picked up maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm already in the black on those ones. Made my money back and then some on the DVDs and the CDs, and then some sports memorabilia. These are not the Hot Wheels brand, so anything that wasn't Hot Wheels brand I didn't sell in the Hot Wheels lot. Johnny Lightning, these are both T-Birds. I don't recognize the brand, Crag Car. Either way, die-cast cars. Put them up in a lot for 2. List them for $15, and if you have any selling experience on eBay and you don't use offers, I highly encourage you to use offers. So one of the advantages I talked last week of buy it now versus an auction. Buy it now, you can kind of have your patience, set your price, but even within that, maybe you don't have much traction on it at the price you set. You can control, and it'll notify you when someone's watching, or I don't know what their algorithm is. Maybe they stayed on the page long enough that assumes they may be an interested buyer. It'll allow you to send them an offer so lower than that. And I've had very good success with people accepting those offers. So you're catching someone who did not take the action of sending you an offer, but they're still accepting a discounted price. So I sent an offer for $12. I think it's the second time in 2 days I've sent an offer. Somebody accepted it and paid right away. So going to its new happy home soon. Second to last thing for this week. So I mentioned I was iffy, and by the end of last week's video, I think I was basically decided. So the auction that I had, that was a not so great outcome. So somebody didn't pay. They said, oh, I didn't mean to bid that much. So I was able to finally close that claim. I closed the unpaid item claim in eBay. So there's a mark on that person's account. I get my fees refunded. I was able to relist it. So I did it as an auction. I could not figure out what item in there. I think it's just the collection overall. And 38 funk CDs, so P-Funk, Parliament, George Clinton, a couple artists in there, and relisted it. It's trending the exact same way. So again, I mentioned it sold for $600 last time. I have no expectations of that happening, even if it was an accident. There was 2 bidders. I don't expect it to go anywhere near that. I'll be happy with 100. Anything over that's going to be icing on the cake at this point. So already up to $43, give or take. Closes on Saturday, so just only 3 days into the auction, so not too shabby. Those will be an exciting thing next week to see what those closed at. So get your guesses in now. Last thing for the week, I will probably do a whole separate video on this. There's too many. There's whole card channels that I follow, so I'm not going to go too heavy into it. But sports cards, if you are not aware, if you are doing anything resale and you are not aware of sports cards, then you've been sleeping. There's an entire sub-industry of resale in cards. There's people clearing out the Walmart and Target or the Target shelves of boxes of sports cards. So the days of taking your kid to Target to go pick up a box of baseball cards are gone for now, because they're immediately selling on eBay for twice as much as they are on the shelf, more or less. But a year and change ago, I decided to start getting back into it out of nostalgia and out of interest of the value, of course, pre-quarantine. But I had a bunch of downtime myself, so decided to pick up on, bought a couple boxes, and didn't really have a strategy of the particular what are the hot products, what are the valuable ones. I kind of knew the main brands. I knew Tops. I looked up, okay, the main basketball ones, modern are Prism. Bought a couple boxes, opened them for fun, and then did some research and set them aside. I finally am digging through stuff to start moving, so I went through for the first time. This is about 6 months ago now. I sent cards out to get graded. There are three, again, not going to go into all the detail, but there's three, most will say two, main card grading companies. PSA, BGS, most people know BGS is Beckett. SGC is that third one that is not as commonly referred to in the top three. I think historically they're well respected for more vintage cards. They started getting a lot more business for other reasons recently. So I sent through them for many reasons, have been sitting on a 200 cards graded by them for a while now, finally getting those up onto eBay. But here, again, like this book, here's a great example. I bought a couple boxes of basketball cards for maybe $300 total, maybe $400 total back in year and a half ago, say. This one card alone out of one of those boxes, even if it wasn't graded, is about $500 to $800 right now. It's graded at 9.5. It's because it's graded by this company, it's likely to not get anywhere near the value of if this was in PSA or BGS, but that's Jason Tatum 2017 Silver Prism, so it's a shorter print, lower population card, but that's what got me into it. That card alone, seeing how much that was worth, it was a couple hundred at the time, now it's 500, but that was kind of what got me back into it. So I just sent my first batch of 101 to PSA, which is considered the main company. They have such a massive backlog, so it'll probably be 6 years before I record a video showing you how that went. But we'll see when those come back. I tried something out kind of as a curiosity to see if it would speed up my return. And if that works, I'll be happy to do a video on that because I think a lot of people will be interested in that. So more on the sports cards another time. Plenty of other, if you do have nostalgia, haven't heard, and aren't that, plenty of other YouTube channels to go peek at on that. There's entire channels of people putting out content all the time. So any questions, as always, drop them below. Hopefully I've got some good news on either the cards or the CDs next week when that auction closes. I probably won't buy another locker next week, but I'll keep trying to highlight items that I am selling, because if I'm not buying lockers, that means I'm selling a lot more than I usually am, because I've got a lot of stuff to clear out. So stay tuned for another one. Thanks as always for tuning in. Take it easy.